The king announced across the kingdom that whoever could identify the origin of this skin would be granted the hand of the princess. The first man circled the skin and plucked a hair from it, claiming it was pigskin. The king shook his head in denial. The second man took out a magnifying glass. The princess was extremely nervous, fearing the man would recognize it. One after another, several men approached to examine the skin, but all shook their heads and left. Then, a rough-looking man walked up. He leaned down and sniffed, claiming it was flea skin. The king froze, startled. It turned out that one day, a small flea had suddenly jumped onto the king's palm. No matter how he tried to shoo it away, it always returned. The king became intrigued. Back in his chamber, he immediately began studying the flea, feeding it with his own blood. He even prepared a luxurious mansion for the flea. With the flea by his side, the king lost interest in state affairs and spent his days making toys for it. He even made a little tricycle for it. Over time, the flea grew rapidly, nourished by rich food, eventually reaching the size of a hunting dog. But one day, it stopped breathing due to excessive weight. The king was heartbroken and ordered the flea's skin to be made into a tapestry. At the same time, the princess reached a marriageable age, and the king came up with the idea of using the skin as a way to choose a suitor. When the man recognized the skin, the princess's face turned pale. The king, determined to keep his promise, watched helplessly as the man took the princess away. The man led the princess over high mountains to a cave at the cliff's edge. Inside the cave, there were scattered animal bones and piles of raw meat. One day, when the man went hunting, the princess spotted an old woman on the other side. She screamed desperately for help, and the old woman called upon her son, a skilled acrobat. The two of them walked across a tightrope, and the acrobat carried the princess to the other side. When the man returned and saw what was happening, he frantically chased after them along the rope. Just as the situation seemed dire, the acrobat cut the rope, and the man fell down. Unexpectedly, the man did not die. He climbed back up the rock face and followed the scent, catching up with the carriage. Furious, he began killing everyone in his path. The princess hid behind a mound of dirt and witnessed the carnage. As the man approached, she pretended to smile. The man relaxed his guard, thinking she was safe. He was about to carry her back home when the princess swiftly pulled out a knife and slashed at his throat. When the princess returned to the palace with the man's head, her body was covered in blood. The king, full of regret, decided to pass the throne to his daughter as compensation. And so, the princess became a queen.